Welcome back, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric, and I am very excited to be back with you. Now, I was off for 1 week. I was doing a few things. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but a whole lot of activity's been happening around our Raiders, including getting some major players. Of course, if you do not know, we're talking about Chandler Jones. We're talking about Davante Adams, securing our wide receiver one. We're going to go into that a little bit more, but I want to say hello to you guys right now. I see Earth Daughter in the chat right now talking about Davante Adams and Derek Carr going to the same school. Yes, they went to Fresno State together. Glad you could be here. I see Mr. SHS43. Absolutely crazy. This whole offseason, not just for the Raiders, but the league has been kind of crazy. If you've been watching Deshaun Watson, we'll talk about that a little bit later in our Q&A session if you want to talk about some extra league news that have been going on today. Dominique, how are you doing? I see you. Oh, I hope you're feeling better from your shoulder surgery. I see you in here. Thank you for coming in, and I hope this will help you recover and recuperate as we kind of celebrate here. And I put the thumbnail here as a new look because this is frankly a new look for the Raiders, a new regime. And it looks like, as of right now, things are kind of going well, obviously. So I see Chevy Silver Raider here. You talk about the Chiefs and Juju Smith-Schuster. We can talk about that a little bit later. We'll go to the Q&A session. I want to say hello to all of you. Israel 2010, go Fresno State. Obviously, Fresno State connection here. Between our two major players here. I want to say hello to all of you who are also in the chat and not talking in here. And also any of you who are watching this on the replay, why not be in here with us? We go live just about every Friday at 6 o'clock. And we have a lot of fun with this, some good times. We're still going to do some mock drafts. I know we had to give up some picks. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about Davante. And we do have a lot of fun with this, and I encourage you to come not only like this live stream, even if you're watching this on a replay, but subscribe so you get the notifications. Hit that bell notification, set it to all. That way you will be notified when I launch the next live stream so you can be here live with the rest of us. Raider Dangerfield, I love the name. I love the name, and I loved the comedian when he was around. He said... I'll assume you're a he, like Rodney Dangerfield. I haven't been so excited for the Raiders in so long. You know what? Me either. Honestly, we actually have some players in place. We'll talk a little bit about that. What I want to talk about is the two major players that we acquired. And I'm going to give grades on those acquisitions. Plus, I'm going to go over the rest of the current free agent signings that we had, as well as the trade. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then I'm going to go over how this fits into the offense and defense and kind of revert it to the positions I wanted to focus on. And then we'll have question and answers. So, so let's get right to this, guys. Without further ado, if you're new here, this is how we normally do it. We do what we call the rundown. I put this here in the beginning. I will put it on a scroll here in a second. But this is basically the topics we're going to be covering during this live stream. Obviously, we have a poll of the week. If you're a subscriber, it should be in your feed, and you can respond to that. We'll go to those. And then the subjects we're going to be talking about, obviously, the acquisitions and the moves we've made during this free agent period this week. A lot of things to cover, so let's get right on to that. And the first thing I want to talk about is the poll of the week. Let me put the scroll here, our brand new scroll that we've been kind of instituting and playing around with, so you can see any of our rundown topics. It frees us up a little bit more room here on the screen so you can see, but you can keep an eye out on that. Let's get right to this though. As far as our poll of the week, sorry about that. Now, the first one I put was the week before, and that was the big news, was Russell Wilson being traded to the Broncos. And, you know, there was a lot of backlash I was seeing with Raider Nation getting upset. I put what was out there, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, a fifth, and then they gave up 3 players, and then they got back a fourth. I wanted to know what your opinion was as far as the impact that this would have as far as that goes. And it's pretty even here as far as a lot of you said you felt that they were a serious player in the division. And then the other one was they felt that they gave up too much in the deal. I'm kind of leaning more towards this side. I'm not so sure if Wilson's season last year was an anomaly or if it's a sign of things to come and perhaps a decline of things to come. Now, I know Denver can run the ball pretty well. They still have a pretty good defense despite losing Von Miller, trading him away last year, and then now he's signed with Buffalo. But I am not so worried about this as far as the Denver Broncos go. We played them twice. We swept them. Drew Lock did not play that badly when we played them last year. I know Russell Wilson's the definite upgrade. Still, between our team way it is and the upgrades that we've done, we're going to go over here in a second. I'm not too worried about it. Now, the other one I want to talk about is the one this week. Now, a lot of big names had come off the board. J.C. Jackson, Christian Kirk got a huge deal. We can talk about that in the Q&A session. I wanted to ask you, what big name type free agent would you want the most? And you guys, almost 50% says Stephon Gilmore, former New England Patriot, Carolina Panther, lockdown corner. Now, Allen Robinson was there as well. Now, one of these guys we did get, obviously. If you've looked at the thumbnail, you'll know which one. Allen Robinson actually went to the Rams, so that's going to be very interesting as well. They're kind of reloading for another run here. Gilmore's still out there. We'll talk about him a little bit here, but let's get first to the big name I want to talk about. Obviously, we're going to talk about this guy. We're going to talk about this guy right here, Derek Carr, being very happy, of course, and that's acquiring Davante Adams. Now, we had to give up our first and second round picks in this year's draft. And then we negotiated a deal here. You can see this, 5 years, $141 million. That goes to about $28 million per year. Now, I was talking about that. If you've been on my past live streams where we're looking at free agent options, I was saying Davante was probably going to want about $30 million. But I said we could maybe get him at 27 or 28, given that Nevada does not have a state tax. And I think that's probably what happened. I heard that the Packers offered more. There's a lot of bad blood going on. They never gave him an extension, and then they extended Aaron Rodgers, and he was just kind of fed up. I think he wanted to change anyway. Their loss is our gain. Honestly, we'll look at this in a minute once I give the grade for this acquisition. This wasn't a free agent signing, obviously. This was a straight trade. They did franchise him, so they basically waived that. Usually they have to go up 2 first-round picks. But they've decided to waive that and straight trade with us. So here's what I think about Davante Adams. I want to talk a little bit about this. You know, we've been going through this for quite some time. I mean, you could even argue going all the way back to Tim Brown. We haven't had a real wide receiver one. We tried with Antonio Brown. He went absolutely crazy. Henry Ruggs, we know what happened with that. He was starting to come into his own. I'm not sure if he was, quote, a wide receiver one. But now we've got a proven guy in his prime. I'm going to show you the stats here in a little bit. I know some people say, well, maybe he's kind of edging over that peak. I don't necessarily think so. I think this is good for him and definitely good for the Raiders. Now, his strengths here, he can run the full route tree. He can go inside. He can line up inside. He can line up outside. He can pretty much do it all. Not just that, this guy has one of the best hands. Now, I looked at some stats here. Now, of the top 10 wide receivers last year, he was second best as far as drop percentage per target at 1.8%, second only to Tyler Lockett. This guy does not drop the ball. Not only that, something else we are dire need of is not his first downs. He had a total of 84 first downs last year. That is second only to Cooper Kupp. Again, arguably the best running back in the league. He's definitely in the discussion. If you want to talk about Cooper Kupp, that's fine. Cooper Kupp almost had 2,000 yards, but Davante Adams had 15, 53, and 11 touchdowns off of 123 targets. So he's right up there. Even if you want to say Kupp is the number one in the league, he is definitely in the discussion. And of course, I got to say this, not only does it make sense, it's going to make Carr better. He's got another weapon, a true weapon, right alongside Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller. Not only that, this one stat I pulled up, it was the quarterback rating. I don't know how they calculate this. There's a lot of stats I'm going through. It's the quarterback rating when a certain wide receiver is targeted, and the quarterback rating for his quarterbacks was 115.3 last year, and that was second only to Cooper Kupp. So this guy has good hands. He can move the chains. He can make the quarterback better. And let's go over some of these stats. If you want to look at these, absolutely beast-like. He came back. Now he didn't have the touchdowns he had that one year. I wasn't expecting that. That was kind of an anomaly with 18, but he had 11. He had over 1,500 receiving yards. And look, I'm gonna say this right now. This is the guy that could maybe put us over the top. So I gotta give this one an A. Well done. I know we had to pay him money. It was inevitable. Frankly, I was kind of tired of trying to grab the next big thing in the draft. I'm glad we got a marketable commodity. I was looking at Brandon Cooks trying to save some money, but you know what? This is a great option in and of himself, and this is going to be a fun time to watch. And you know what? Maybe all the activity in the AFC West helps spur this on, with Matt going to the Chargers, and Denver getting Russell Wilson. They kind of upped the ante. So again, Green Bay's loss is definitely our gain. Now let's go to the next guy I want to talk about, and we're going to go from the big cheese to the big closer. And that's right. This is Chandler Jones, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals. He had the nickname of closer back when he was a Patriot, 6'5", 265. PFF ranking is 49th. I think that was a little bit unkind, given the bounce back season he had. We'll talk about what happened to him in 2020 here in a minute. We secured him for 3 years, $51 million. That's $17 million a year. And I want to tell you a little bit about this guy. If you're not familiar with him, number one, he was a former Patriot. He won a championship with them. So there's a little bit of a tie-in with that, the Patriot way and all that. But you know what? This guy is unbelievable. If you look at any tape on this guy has a nose for the quarterback. He can get there. He is so quick. And not only that, he can change directions. He's very cerebral. He outsmarts the tackles that are trying to block him. It's just a work of art, this guy, how he goes about his business. And not only that, he is a master at strip sacks, at creating fumbles. And I say this, during his tenure, the 5 seasons he did play, we'll talk about the one season he did in a minute. 5 seasons, he had 23 forced fumbles, almost 5 per season. This guy can do it. He can be a difference maker. He was one of the big guys that made Arizona's defense what it was. And you know what? He can play the 3-4. He can play the 4-3. He can be that outside linebacker. He's technically was in the Arizona scheme, but he can also be an edge rusher on a 4-3 side. He's, like I said, he's so quick, and it's just unbelievable. And number one, I personally think he's definitely an upgrade over Yannick Ngakoue. When we talk about Yannick Ngakoue, when we first got him last year, I made a whole video on that, and a lot of people didn't like him. And I said, look, his floor is 8 sacks per season. That's his floor. You know what Chandler Jones's floor has been the last 5-6 seasons that he's played? 12 sacks, and he gets those strips. That's something Yannick was not really doing for us. Plus, Yannick was on his last year of his contract. We only signed him for 2 years. I think it was a good move to trade him. We'll go over that in just a minute, who we got for him. Obviously, he went to the Colts, reuniting with Gus Bradley in his scheme. I think this was a better option. And not only that, Chandler Jones is better against the run. Not the greatest against the run, but definitely better than Yannick Ngakoue if you look at the numbers. So as far as his stats go, this is what I'm going to look at. Now, some people are going to say, well, he's 32 years old. Is he going to be on the back end of his career? Is he going to decline? In 2020, he only played 5 games. He had a nagging bicep injury, went on IR, had surgery, bounced back the next year, had 10.5 sacks, 6 forced fumbles. Again, to me, he's back. Now, does that mean he's going to be great for another 4 or 5, 6 years? No, but we got him on a 3-year deal. We can get out of it after 2 years, paying him $17 million each season. So I'm thinking he's probably going to be good for another 2 or 3 seasons. And again, another upgrade, put him on the other side of Max Crosby. We got rid of Carl Nassib. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And we can still keep Cleve Farrell this year to help against the run and put him right on the outside edge of Cleve Farrell at certain downs as well. So overall, I'm going to give this one an A as well. Especially early on in the season, Yannick and Max were creating havoc. Now, the big key is going to be able to keep that momentum. I think Chandler Jones is a better player than Yannick Ngakoue overall, and a definite upgrade for the Raiders. Now, let's go over the other additions here. We're going to go over some of these really quickly. Now, the first one I've obviously focused on is Rock Ya-Sin. Now, he was traded for Yannick Ngakoue. We traded him, received him. Now, the big thing with Rock Ya-Sin is that his specialty is man coverage. I think this is a good move. Again, we got the upgrade as soon as we had Chandler Jones signed. We pulled the trigger on this trade, got rid of Yannick Ngakoue and his money. The difference, honestly, was about a couple million difference between Yannick's salary this year and Chandler Jones. So, and we're getting a better player, and we get a cover corner. And look, we'll talk about the defense in a minute. We're going to go over the additions and subtractions. So I think this, at a minimum, bolsters us. But, I mean, he could very well be starting for us. We'll get to that in a minute. The next guy we got is Bilal Nichols, Chicago Bears. We signed up for 2 years, $11 million. Now, this is a guy kind of up in the air. I think for the amount we paid was okay. This guy is, big thing with him, he's flexible. He can line up over the nose at the zero tech. He can go out. Not to say he's this great player. Again, I talked about wanting Larry Ogunjobi. Unfortunately, he signed with the Chicago Bears, so he is out of the question. We'll get to the defensive side in a minute, but I think this is a solid signing for us, especially since we didn't have any defensive tackles currently on the roster. Again, we'll go over possible options there as well. Now, these two guys here, Brandon Bolden and Amir Abdullah. Now, Bolden was a former Patriot, so obviously the regime knows what they're getting there. Amir Abdullah, similar type of player, kind of a third down type back. I think they like to stock up on players. They like to run the ball a lot. We'll get to that in a minute of what I want, but when I put this here, that means I couldn't get the terms were not out at the time when I filled this in. So 2 years, $5 million. But with these two signings, this tells me Jalen Richard is going to be moving on. That's a 100% now that we have these guys. And we still have Trey Regis as well, so, and Kenyon Drake. So I think they'll be moving on. Now, does that mean Abdul will be around week 1? Is he going to make it through training camp? I don't know. I would say 50-50 at best, especially if we draft a running back next month in April. We'll see about that. Now, Alex Bars, also from the Bears. Now, his claim to fame is he has flexibility. He's been in like jumbo packages. Don't know a whole lot about this guy, but very interesting that we went out and got a guard right away. We'll talk about that when we get to the offensive side of the ball. Jacob Johnson, another Patriot, a fullback. Now, if you don't know, Alex Ingold was a free agent, signed with Miami, so he's gone. He's not coming back. So I think this is the replacement. The McDaniels offense doesn't really use the fullback that much, so it'll be interesting to see if he's even going to be on the team week 1. We'll see. Mac Hollins, Miami Dolphins, signed a 1-year deal. The terms, I could not get the terms. They weren't disclosed. I looked at a few websites. Now, this guy, he's a big receiver, and if you remember a couple years back when we played the Dolphins, that play where Arden Key basically almost ripped Fitzpatrick's helmet off, he threw it to Mac Hollins for that big play. So that's kind of the claim to fame with this guy. Kind of backup guy. Will he make it? Will he not? I don't even know. It's kind of a minor signing. And then these two guys, Averett, former Raven. I think he's a solid backup corner if we have some injuries. Not a great corner, but still, if you're going to second, third, fourth string, I would be more confident with this guy than other guys. And then Darius Phillips, this guy is more of a returner. I like this one because I'm hoping that he does the punt returns and not Hunter Renfrow, because I always get worried that Hunter Renfrow is going to get his block knocked off, and then we're going to be without him on the offense. Now, let's first go over the defensive side. Now, if you've been to my live streams before, this should be very familiar to you, the format. Now, I did this during my Reloading the Defense live stream. I put a link in the description if you want to check that out. I focused on 3 positions: defensive tackle, corner, and linebacker. Now, first thing I want to go through is the ones in red are free agents. Were free agents. The ones in yellow are on their last year. And then these two, Abram and Farrell, there's a 5th-year option because they were drafted in the first round. And then the other guys are longer than 1-year contract, if you see it in silver, just to let you know that. So the first thing I want to go over is the ones we have lost for sure. And this is why Casey Hayward signed with Atlanta. He's gone. Littleton and Kwiatkowski are also gone. I did have Nassib. I don't know why the X isn't showing there. Sorry about that. But he's gone as well. They're both going to be cut after June 1st. Probably save us, Littleton and Nassib, about $20 million total combined. Nick Morrow signed with the Bears. Faison signed, I'm not sure. I don't remember where he signed, but he's gone as well. And of course, Yannick Ngakoue was traded. So now let's put the additions here. Oh, there's Nassib. So let's put the additions here. I put these in white so you can kind of see the difference. So I put Nichols in the 0 position where Hankins is, because I'm not sure if we're going to re-sign Hankins. So if we're not, I'm going to assume he's going to fill that role. Rock Ya-Sin is going to be on the other side of Trayvon Mullen. That makes sense. I kind of put Jones in between. He's probably going to be on the edge, but he can kind of fill both spots. Averett and Phillips as backups. This is the defensive side of the ball. So overall, we're not done yet, but I like the additions that we have overall. Obviously, we need more defensive tackles and some linebacker work and some corners, quite frankly. And there's a lot of talk that Stephon Gilmore could be in our future as well. We do have the money for that. I think once these two guys are officially cut, we'll have about $20 million under the cap. Excuse me. So that could be possible as far as getting Stephon Gilmore. Now let's get right to the offensive side here, and I'm going to be using the same format. And of course, I did a video on this, reloading the offense, and I focused on 3 positions, same kind of format, and I focused on right tackle, wide receiver, and running back. I thought those are the 3 positions on offense that we needed to focus on the most. Now, I'm going to put the ones that are gone. I already talked about Alec Ingold. Also, Zay Jones went to Jacksonville. Jacksonville, I don't know if somebody died and they were left a lot of money. They're just throwing money to everybody. I don't think it's really going to work. I know Lawrence is still on his rookie contract, of course. But still, I think they overpaid for Zay, honestly, $8 million. I don't think he's worth that much, to be honest with you. And then definitely for Christian Kirk. We can talk about that in the Q&A. Now, here's the additions here. Now, obviously, Davante Adams would be right over here, wide receiver 1. I have Alex Bars here at guard. Now, I'm wondering if what they're going to be doing in this situation now is Leatherwood going to be moved back to right tackle? Because we haven't addressed that. I would still like to get a guy like Bobby Massey. He's still out there. He'd be relatively cheap. And even if we are going to move Leatherwood back there, that would be a nice backup at tackle if he gets hurt or he falters again or whatever. Now, maybe Denzel Good's going to be cut. I believe it'd be a $4 million cap savings. That's why we got this guy. Or he could just be for depth. And then Hollins, I just put him here as a backup wide receiver. Same thing with Johnson here at fullback. Now, these two, I talked about that. Jalen Richard's not going to come back, obviously. And I'm honestly, I still want a guy like Dameon Pierce. I still see smaller backs backing up Josh Jacobs. I want a big guy that can pound the ball in the third quarter. Like I said, a guy like Dameon Pierce. Maybe he'll be there available in the third or fourth round. We still have draft picks there. That's what I would like to see. But overall, uh, not as impressive on the defensive side, obviously, other than Davante Adams. I still don't think we're finished yet, especially with this tackle position. We need to get some, at a minimum, some depth. So overall, pretty good job, I feel, by the Raiders thus far. Started off slow in free agency and kind of roared thereafter with the trades and the big signings. I want to know what you think, though. I want to ask you, what do you grade the Raiders as far as all these moves that they've done, the new look Raiders? I'm going to put this right here. How do you feel? I put it as an A, a B, a C, and then I put it as an other. I don't think it's a D or an F. At worst, it would be a C. But to me, you'd really have to explain why if you're worried about the salary cap or something like that. I want to say hello to you guys. I see a bunch of comments. I'm going to go through these now. Now this is your time. This is a question and answer segment. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. What do you feel about our recent moves? Who else do you think we should go after right now? To me, we're not done yet. We still have about $20 million to play with. Again, should we go after Stephon Gilmore? I'm not opposed to it if the price is right. I don't want to give him $20 million. I think I'm hearing like 12 to 14. I would be okay with that. We still need to get some depth at the offensive tackle and the defensive tackle positions. And we have the draft coming up. Now, of course, we had to give up our first two picks, our first and second round picks. And so we don't draft until the third round in this draft. So it'll be very interesting to see who falls, who we can get at that point. And I'm going to be scrolling right now through the chat. Mr. SHS says you should set up Streamlabs so we can send you some money. I appreciate that. I'm looking into that right now. There's a few options with that. I do appreciate that. And once I have that, I will set that up. I'll probably put it on the streaming ticker. Things like a Patreon or a Venmo or a Cash App or things like that. If you want to, you can. Obviously, I enjoy doing this, but, of course, I want to grow and get the channel bigger and do bigger and better things with it. I want to get some new equipment. I'm looking into doing that as well. I had a comment about my headset. They think, some people feel I should get rid of the headset, get a standard microphone and some earbuds. So that's kind of in the works as well. So just to let you know, like I said, a lot of changes will be happening over time. And I'm just enjoying this. I enjoy talking with you guys as well. So Mr. SHS43 also says our weapons are so dangerous, going blow for blow with any team. And like I said, I kind of alluded to that. I really think these moves were predicated or pushed because our division rivals have kind of locked and loaded. You got Russell Wilson. Again, I don't think it's the Russell Wilson of old, but still, that's a definite upgrade from Drew Lock. Even a declining Russell Wilson is more trouble for us. Remember, they got Javonte Williams. He's going to be going into his second season. He looked pretty good in his rookie campaign, and I don't think Melvin Gordon's coming back. So he's going to be the bell cow there. Their offensive line played better than I thought they would during last season, to be honest with you. I don't think it's a great line. They've invested a lot into it, but I would say average to above average line there. So, and the defense has always been pretty good. It'll be interesting to see what they do on that side of the ball next year. And then, of course, the Chargers. Getting Khalil Mack, we can talk about that if you want. Pairing him up with Joey Bosa, so I'm okay with it. The Bears, I think the Bears made out like bandits too. Sandy B, I know she likes the Bears as well, so we can talk about that as well. Let's see. I'm just scrolling down here. Yeah, get well soon, Dominique. Get well soon. Raider Dangerfield said, I won't lie, I was not even upset about this trade. And there's a lot of people that were like talking some smack about that unique. If you're talking about the unique trade, now you might be talking about Davante Adams. I think that makes total sense. Now, hang on. As far as Davante Adams goes, you have to remember we were picking 22nd. That's our slot. So it's a later first round pick. It wasn't like we're picking fourth or fifth, you know. So to me, the two players we would have gotten or Davante Adams, which one would you rather have? I'd rather have Davante Adams, to be honest with you. Proven commodity, one of the best wide receivers in the league. As far as the unique trade, people were talking smack that we only got Rock Ya-Sin for it. I like the deal. It clears some space away. I think Rock Ya-Sin's only going to make 3 or 4 million, and Yannick was going to make, I believe, 16, 15 million. So plus we got Chandler Jones. We didn't make that deal till we signed Jones. So that kind of shows me, honestly, this new regime really knows what they're doing. They're going out and they're getting the players that they want, and that makes sense. So I'm liking what I see from this new regime thus far. Let's see. Mr. SHS said we got a deal for Davante. Absolutely. If I'm Green Bay, especially Aaron Rodgers, I'm kind of wondering what the hell's going on, you know. There's a lot of turmoil there, and then he decides to come back, and oh, by the way, Adams is going to be gone now, so I guess we'll get you Marquez Valdez Scantling now. That's going to be your new number one. Good luck, you know. Alan Lazard. Okay. So, car haters are so mad. Well, you know, honestly, even the car haters, I mean, if you're a Raider fan, you have to be optimistic. You said, okay, we gave Carr this nice weapon now. Let's hope we can win a Super Bowl, right? Even if you don't like Carr, I mean, you're a Raider fan. If you're not a Raider fan, then, you know, leave, you know, get out, you know, yeah, get out of the nation, you know. But I don't really understand the hate for Carr. I think this was the best way it could have flown. I mean, as far as versus other scenarios, maybe giving up the world for a Deshaun Watson that may or may not even be suspended. I know it got cleared of the legal charges, but the NFL still has they could still suspend him. And then what are you going to do? Davante Adams wouldn't want to be here. You're going to tie up a boatload of money. I think he's signed for 40 or 50 million. You guys, you know, there's a lot of the haters were complaining that Carr might get 30, and you're going to pay this guy 45 million without any weapons. It's like, so to me, I think this scenario works out the best for the team. Kerry Williams, welcome here. I see you right here. Tim Brown was a great receiver. If he would have had the quarterback Jerry Rice did, he would have had the stats Rice did, if not better. Yeah, absolutely. And he was a returner for a big chunk of his career as well. So, big guy with speed, kind of a little bit of a freak of nature on that. And we had a little great run there in the 2000s with both those guys with Gannon. Unfortunately, I don't want to get into Bill Callahan and all that nonsense, but unfortunately, we didn't get the job done, bottom line. Chevy Silver Raider says, who's ranked number one? Hopkins. Oh, yeah, you're talking about from before. Cooper Kupp is ranked number one by PFF for last year, obviously. And honestly, he almost had 2,000 yards, so I can't argue that. So, Earth Daughter says, just now back. Take it easy and heal quickly. Yes, Dominique, take it easy and heal quickly. The shoulder. We need you here. We need you here with the nation rooting. So, Raider Dangerfield also says the biggest thing is you can't cover him. Waller, Renfro, Jacobs. There aren't enough defenders. And remember, Kenyon Drake should be back. He will be back for one more year. As far as I know, he's still on the roster. I don't think they're going to get rid of him. So it's very interesting. So to me, on the offensive side of the ball, the biggest question is now the offensive line, obviously. What are we going to do on that right side of the line? One, can we get Leatherwood up to speed? I know we spent a first round pick on him. Now I know it was the previous regime, but still, can we get this guy up to par, even if we keep him at guard? And what are we going to do at tackle? Uh, like I said, Bobby Massey, I'm not saying he's a great player, but for the price, I think it's a good option. 100 times better than Brandon Parker. But, that's not a very high bar to go over. So we need to address that as far as the offensive side of the ball. So, but yeah, if Carr can get any kind of protection, it's going to be trouble for defenses this year. Kerry Williams says he is no longer on the Bears roster. He didn't pass the physical. Ogunjobi, his foot injury. So they voided the trade, huh? Or the not the trade, the free agent signing. Ooh, ooh. I would love Ogunjobi. If you've listened to me, I think I've talked about 2 or 3 live streams where I like Larry Ogunjobi and why he's very flexible. He's only like 28 years old. He had the foot injury. I'm wondering. And Kerry also said Faison went to Indianapolis. Yeah, that's right. I read that. I couldn't remember the team, but he did go to Indianapolis. Yeah, I would love to have Larry Ogunjobi here. And frankly, we have the money, so let's do it. Let's see. Johnny Storms Beats, welcome here. Let's go Raiders. Absolutely. Let's go Raiders. And you know what? There was a lot of questions with this new regime. Are they going to be the Patriots? Are they going to do this and do that? And is Josh McDaniels going to be an idiot again and try to trade all his best players away like he did with Denver when he was the head coach when he first came in there? I think he kind of learned. He talked about it, the way he acted, and he was not mature at the time. I think he's going to be a much better coach his second stint around. Now, remember, I'm not saying he's the same guy, but remember, Bill Belichick was the coach for the Cleveland Browns. He didn't do too well there before he was with New England. So, I'm not saying he's going to be Belichick, but I think, especially it was like 10, 12 years ago, you learn a lot. You mature a lot over time, 10 or 12 years. I'm not the same person. I'm sure you guys aren't the same people either. So I am very optimistic, especially with these moves we've been making. And now I know Davante's a lot of money, but he's worth it. He's one of the best receivers in the league. Plus the cap's going to be going up. We're going to have this guy for a while, and the cap's going to go up. I'm sure he's probably got at least 3 or 4 more good years in him. It's kind of the same thing with Carr. I think we have the opportunity to make a run right here. Remember, we were 10-7. A lot of people were talking smack about us because we weren't doing anything in free agency, and the other division teams were doing things. And they said except the Chiefs, but the Chiefs have already won the championship with Mahomes and Andy Reid, and also. A lot of people don't talk about it. They franchised Orlando Brown. That was probably one of their biggest keepers there because, he kind of helped solidify that line. 2 years ago, Tampa run roughshod over them in the Super Bowl. So that was definitely an upgrade. Now, is he worth top 5 money? I don't know, but, you got to do what you got to do, and the Chiefs are doing it. So let's see. So basically, we're stepping up. This regime is stepping up and wanting to win now. We are a 10-7 team, guys. 10-7 team. We had a lot of adversity. We lost our head coach. We lost Henry Ruggs. Damon Arnett being crazy on social media. A lot of craziness last year. Our offensive line was terrible. Awful. Except for Colton Miller. The offensive line was just trash. We lost Darren Waller down the stretch and kept winning. He came back for that game against the Chargers and then the playoff game, but a lot of adversity with this team. Again, I wish they would have kept Bisaccia a special teams role, given him a little bit more money. I don't think he should have been the head coach, but at least I think that would have worked. I think that's what we should have done. I think that's what Al Davis would have done. He was very loyal to his people. I definitely think he would have done that. So let's see. Carrie, let's see. I scrolled. Let's see. Dominique says B because we haven't addressed the right tackle, left guard, linebacker, defensive tackle still. Well, we did get a defensive tackle. I'm not so sure if they're going to move Leatherwood to right tackle now, or again, I don't think we're done yet. We have $20 million, about $20 million more to spend, so I don't think we're done yet, to be honest with you. So I would rather address other needs. Dominic says, other than sign another corner. Yes. So you're saying Rock Sin is good enough to start opposite of Trayvon Mullen, then, if you're saying that. Uh, he just might be. So again, I would like to get Larry Ogunjobi in. I hope that foot heals. I'm not so sure. Kerry, did he fail it because of the foot, or was it something else? You can specify. I didn't hear anything about that. Kerry also says it's all headed in the right direction. Gilmore is our best bet. Need offensive line. Mr. SHS43 says, can you rank the AFC West offenses? Okay. It's very tough. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna say the Chargers is number one. Here's why. I think they can also run the ball. They retained Mike Williams. They re-signed him. They still have Keenan Allen, Herbert. The offensive line is one of the best in the division, maybe the best in the division. Rashawn Slater was there. He's looked very good. He was as advertised when he came out a couple of years ago in the draft in the first round. Then honestly, I think the Raiders could be number two. And I don't say number one because I'm still suspect of the running game in that line. I want to see what we do with that. I'm not convinced that Josh Jacobs can last a full season. If he could, we would probably definitely be one of the best, if not right there. But I don't have confidence in that. I don't have confidence in this offensive line as far as a run blocking standpoint, to be honest with you. So, and then I would put the Chiefs at 3. They can't run the ball very well, if you notice that. They have Mahomes, and they have Hill, and they have Kelsey, and that's about it. Now, those are great players, but ultimately you need to be able to run the ball. They had some difficulty with that. And then I would put Denver 4th. Still, I would say all 4 offenses are probably above average in the league now, especially with Russell Wilson there in Denver. But that's how I'd rank them. Raiders 805, welcome here. We need linebackers and a right tackle, absolutely. And if you saw my last live stream, those were 2 positions I specified. Now, you could say Chandler Jones is a linebacker, but I think he'll be more on the edge, 4-3 type with us. Even though technically they labeled him as a linebacker with 3-4 with Arizona. But yeah, I agree. And Morrow is gone. I don't know if he was even. He didn't even show up all last year. He was hurt. So Divine Diablo is really going to need to step up. And remember, we still have Denzel Perryman in the middle for 1 more year. And then he's going to be gone. So let's see. Space for Rent. How you doing? I see you there. That's a pretty cool name. I like that. Quentin Jefferson signed with Seattle, so he's not an option anymore. What about star Liutelli? Buffalo cut him. I like to see his health before then. He's a decent option. I was really hoping to get an above average type of player at that position. Last year, the last regime, and I talked about this all during the last offseason and during the season, it looked like we were just basically throwing shit up against the wall at that position, hoping something stuck, Like I said, we got Quentin Jefferson from the Vikings. We got Solomon Thomas, paid him $5 million a year, and, Raider Nation lost their shit over it. But you know what? I don't know if he played to $5 million, but he played closer than I thought he would. I think he overachieved my expectations. I'm sure he's going to go somewhere else. I don't want to pay him $5 million. Darius Philon would be a very good option if he's healthy. Remember, he got hurt in the Charger game, knee injury. Is he going to be ready? It's a little late in the season, but I like Darius Philon. I would love to keep him if he can play. I think Hankins we can move on from. I'd rather get We already have Nichols that can play the nose, the zero tech. Ogunjobi could swap out and do that as well if we can get him. I would love to get a Larry Ogunjobi and spend the money for him as long as the foot's healthy. So let's see. Not worried about Casey, Carrie says. You know what? A very famous person, Ric Flair, once said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. So for us to be the man in the division, we got to beat the Chiefs. And that's just the way it is. You know, I could see that if Mahomes was retired and all their weapons were gone, they were rebuilding. Yeah, they're not the Chiefs anymore, but they still have those guys. So they had some changes on defense. I don't think they're going to be able to re-sign the Honey Badgers. So, but I still think as long as Mahomes is there, they're always going to be a threat because he's just such a unique player. The way he can get rid of the ball and move around and scramble. Plus the rules, it's basically touch football. If you get near him, you're going to get a penalty, you know, with the league the way it is now. It benefits his style of play immensely, and he's an outstanding talent. So I'm not going to dismiss the Chiefs until we can beat the Chiefs and win the division. Mr. SHS says, Yannick is in a scheme fit as well. Rocky Sin is perfect for our new scheme. Yeah, he's a man guy. I prefer man, especially on the outside. That's my opinion. Unfortunately, we haven't had guys to do it. So, like I said, if he turns out to be our starter, say we don't get Gilmore and he's a starter and he plays well, what are they going to say about the Unique trade then? You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, he's not that good. You guys gave up Unique for nothing." I'm like, dude, you don't even know what you're talking about. Are you kidding me? Unique was going to be gone after next year anyway, and we got a better guy for about $2 million more? That's a no-brainer. I mean, this regime knows what they're doing. Remember, this regime is coming in, not only they're trying to build upon a winner, but they got to fix a lot of the problems that were left. So, good job, Ziegler and McDaniels so far, in my opinion. It's not done yet. Like I said, we still have a few holes, but so far so good. Glad we finally moved on from Carl Nassib. Decent guy, overpaid him. But yeah, I mean, that Littleton and Kwiatkowski just makes sense to cut. Not playing underneath their salaries, and we can save, I think, with the three of them, I think we save about $25 million total combined. Kerry Williams says, car haters, you are not a Raider fan. If they look in the past, they've had some terrible quarterbacks. Yeah, Matt McGloin. I've been a Raider fan since '73, and I've seen the ups and downs. Carr is a great quarterback. I'm going to say he's an above average quarterback. I talked about this before. I rank him anywhere from 6th to 14th best quarterback in the league. Depending on his play, it kind of fluctuates, but still, he's good enough to win a championship with us if we have the pieces around him. And that's just the way it is. There's more than one way to do this. And, you know, frankly, you're not going to be able to generally get a top 3 quarterback. You're just not. This is not fantasy football. Those top 3 quarterbacks are already locked up long term, or they're going to be coming in the league as rookies, you know. And like a Peyton Manning comes in the league as rookie, he's going to be selected first overall. And usually the team with the first overall pick is going to need a quarterback. They suck so bad, they're not going to trade down, especially a generational guy like that. So it's not the easiest to get an elite quarterback. I think he's an above average quarterback. And frankly, that's good enough. Chevy Silver Raider says it's going to stick if Jalen Richard does not stay a Raider. Became a big fan watching him in the preseason his rookie year. Well, he's going to be gone with the 2 signings, Bolden and Abdullah. Honestly, I don't think we're going to keep Richard around. And he's unrestricted free agent anyway, like I said. And it wouldn't surprise me if we draft a running back in this draft, a bigger guy. Van Noy will be brought in at some point, says Space for Rent. I wouldn't mind that either. Another former Patriot. Raider Wolf says, hopefully Cleve Farrell can thrive in this new system. Now, I had proposed that we trade Cleve Farrell for Brandon Cooks. I think it would have been a win-win both sides. But now that we're getting rid of Nassib, we got Chandler Jones. I think he'd be good on the edge, or maybe even move him inside at DT, especially on running downs. He's not a big pass rusher. We could go, he was a reach at number 4 overall, but doesn't mean he's a sucky player. He's a decent player, not a 4th overall type player, but I think there's room for him. Plus, we have the 5th-year option if we want to keep him around. I'm not so sure if we are. Maybe we are. Maybe we're going to do that and have him for 2 years and then let him go. Uh, it's interesting. Maybe he will be traded next week. Who knows? We're going to get another player in. Who knows? But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from this new regime, big picture wise. So it'll be interesting to see how they fill the rest of the holes. Space for it says, I wonder who the backup quarterback will be. Who knows? I know Fitzpatrick is out there. I mean, it's not going to be Mariota. I'm sure Mariota is going to be going somewhere, maybe starting. But I would rather have somebody else, somebody who's going to last more than 2 games before he gets hurt. But I don't want to think about that. That means Carr's hurt. So if Carr gets hurt, that's a problem. So. Carrie says no. He's talking about Ogunjobi. Maybe something other than the foot. Wouldn't get into detail. I have to make assumptions. It may have been a urine test. Yeah. Okay. We'll find out. Talent wise, I like him, so we'll see. We're probably getting fat ass Trent Brown back as he dominates Khalil Mack. Well, when he wants to play, Trent Brown. Let's admit it. When he wanted to play and he actually gave a shit, he was a pretty good right tackle. The problem is he only plays half a season, and then he starts eating Big Macs. So it is what it is. So I would rather not have him. I would rather not have to rely on Trent Brown, but who knows? Kerry says, the offensive line is next. Patient Raider fans, just remember the other day we got a slow start on free agency, and I know I was thinking what's going on. Yeah, we all were thinking what's going on, you know. Is it going to be like the old regime where they get nothing but, $1-2 million guys and try to clump them all together? But they've shown up. I think I'm looking at this as the new regime being very strategic in what they want to do. And it shows with Chandler Jones. And they said they've been working on the Davante Adams deal for a while now. And I think that's probably another reason why Carr hasn't been extended yet, because they're seeing what they have to do and play with money. So they get the pieces they want, and then they get Carr extended, and then maybe defer money out later for him so they can still fund under the cap for this year. Again, very strategic. I'm liking what I'm seeing from this new regime overall. Hey, Sandy B, no problem. Did you bring a note? I see you're late. Carrie says, I think we're trading Josh Jacobs. It looks to go in that direction with 2 running backs we picked up. Well, Josh Jacobs is better than Bolden and Abdullah put together. Let's be real here. I would rather not, especially since what's the option? I don't want Brandon Bolden as our starting running back. So who's going to be the starting running back? Are we going to draft a running back in the 3rd round? Maybe. I don't know. But I like Jacobs when he's out there and when he's 100%. When he's 70%, he's not that good. When he's 100%, he looks like a top 10, top 5 guy the way he runs. So, again, still on the rookie contract. I talked about that before, so we'll see what happens with that. I hope they keep Phylon. He showed up at the end. Remember, he had that bad knee injury, so I want to see where he's at. But yeah, I love Phylon. What a gamer. What a gamer that guy is. And I like it. I like when he shows up against the Chargers too, his old team. Love 20 in the chat. Speaking of which, all these guys, be sure to subscribe. Promoting the channel, obviously. If you do like what you see, if you have liked what you've seen, you've kind of stumbled upon this and you're not a subscriber, why not subscribe to the channel? That way you'll be notified of our next live streams. We normally go on every Friday at 6 o'clock Pacific. We might be doing additional ones as we get closer to the draft. However, we don't have draft picks in the first 2 rounds as of now because of the Davante Adams trade. We're still going to do some mock drafts. It'll be very interesting now once they update that to see what kind of players that we need. Plus, we're going to be filling holes in here over the next few weeks with free agency, I'm sure, before the draft. So, again, we do things like that. We do live mock drafts in here, and we decide who we want. There's a lot of good engines out there on the internet, and we have a lot of fun with that. Of course, we do our normal activities here. We're talking about free agency now. We talked about the combine. I have links to some of the videos in the description if you haven't seen that as well. And if you're watching this on a replay and you're not here live, what are you doing? Why aren't you here live with us? A lot of people are in here talking. A lot to talk about with Davante Adams. A lot to talk about with Chandler Jones. You know, just when you think we were done with Chandler Jones making a big splash, we made a bigger splash. So go ahead, like and subscribe. It helps the channel, and we have a lot of fun here. Let's see. Do you think Amik stays or goes? I think he's going to be gone. I think the moves at corner probably solidified that space for Renas. That's my opinion. Especially if we go and get Gilmore. There's talk about that. That is not official. There's rumors about that, but former Patriot, you know, we like the Patriots now. Former Patriots, so, well, former Patriots. Let's see. Kerry Wilson says, Nassib was terrible. I really liked Quentin Jefferson. I would have held on to him. Nassib was terrible until, I would say, till last year. He was okay. He definitely wasn't worth the money. Quentin Jefferson, pretty solid at times. My problem with the interior line is that we, up until near the end of the season, we were getting gashed by teams running the ball. Can't happen. Now, you want to blame Gus Bradley for that, go for it. That's fine, but we were getting decimated. Now, the last few games, that little run we had in the playoffs, we played a lot better on the run, against the run on defense, but and I think he was part of that too. So I did like Jefferson as far as his interior rush presence. Decent guy, didn't pay a whole lot for him. Again, I would like a Larry Ogunjobi type. I'd rather get a guy, injury or whatever aside, that, you know, we can build upon. So let's see. Space Ferment said Mayock and Gruden did a pretty bad job with the free agent signings when you stand back and look at it. Littleton, Nassib, Antonio Brown. Don't forget Antonio Brown, Space for Rent, and that nonsense. Yeah, and don't forget LaMarcus Joyner, another Ram, who came here and didn't do jack. You know, a lot of players that were kind of iffy. Kerry Williams says, you will see a different Carr playing with a longtime friend. Carr has been through a lot of crap since being here. Different coaches, schemes. It's like going one way and changing right. I agree with you. Again, I think the best is yet to come with this team and with Derek Carr. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And now that he has Davante Adams here, a true number one wide receiver, and this regime, like I said, I am very happy and impressed with this regime as so far so good. Again, I'm not saying all the holes are filled, but what they've done so far, they've been methodical. They're not really overpaying like Jacksonville is with Christian Kirk. I mean, would you rather have $30 million Christian Kirk or $28 million Davante Adams? It's a no-brainer. I mean, I don't think Christian Kirk's even broke 1,000 yards receiving. So, you know, I think Jacksonville was like where we were about 10, 15 years ago, where we had to overpay free agents to come here because we sucked so bad. I think that's what they're going through right now. So, but you see here with Vegas, you got the Vegas. Hopefully you don't, no DUIs, okay, people. as far as tractability. This team, we're 10-7. We're in the playoffs. We almost went to the second round of the playoffs. We have a new regime, a solid quarterback play. I mean, this is an above average team looking to get even better and contend for a Super Bowl. So why wouldn't good free agents come here? Still no tight end coach. What gives? I honestly, to me, that's the least of our worries. I want. What are we gonna do for right tackle? That's my biggest concern right now. DT, we can pick up people if we need to, if we can't get a big name or a solid player like we did last year. But right tackle, we need to keep Derek Carr upright. And Brandon Parker was not the answer, even though we stuck with him all season like idiots. Thank you, Tom Cable. Goodbye. But to me, that's the number one priority right now. And Sandy B says, reminder, hit the chat button, subscribe, and all that stuff. Hit that bell notification, set it to all, so you will be notified of all of our future live streams. Yes, indeed. Chevy Silver Raider says, bro, Jacobs is 5th in yards after catch with 2,200, 5th in touchdowns with 28. I like Jacobs when he's healthy. I love Jacobs. When he's out there 100%, he has these little quick cut moves that are just killing people, moving the chains. I mean, when he's healthy, even just think about this. If he's healthy, even if we had an average offensive line with the receiving weapons we have, look out. Who's gonna stop us on offense? It's not gonna happen. And now we got a guy like Chandler Jones, a playmaker, not only with sacks and pressures, but he strips the ball. This is going to be something. I'm getting excited. Still a few more holes to fill, but I'm getting excited so far. Admittedly, I initially loved the Littleton signing. Actually excited about it, but he sucked. That's what Raider Wolf said. Turned out to be a mistake. Well, I was always hearing when we first signed him that he was going to be the guy to stop Travis Kelce because he could cover George Kittle when he was with the Rams playing against the Niners. It didn't happen. You just took the money and ran. It was like old school vet signings where like we were their retirement fund. You know, screw them. Goodbye. Get out. Yards after contact. Okay. Yeah, I like Jacobs when he's healthy. The problem is he can't stay healthy for a full season. We need some between the tackles guy. I've said this before to spell him. I don't think he can take 350 carries. It's not going to happen. Red Wolf says yes. Oh, I already read that. Sorry about that. Kerry Williams says the writing was on the wall with Cart's extension to get Adams. There's a motive with every move this regime has made and is making. Oh, absolutely. I think that's why the delay in Carr's, like I said, the delay in his extension was due to all this stuff happening and be able to fit it with the cap. Yeah, Carr's going to be staying, and they said it, and I believed it, and it's coming to fruition. Now that Davante Adams is here, I think there's no doubt. So, let's see. In that case, Waller is out too. They're so close to winning. I guess they want the paycheck more. There's a lot of smoke with Waller last year. Kind of could have played but didn't play and didn't come back until that final game when the playoffs were on the line. There's some smoke around that. I don't know if that's true, but like I said, there's some smoke and some rumors around that. And you know, if you look around, I think like Evan Ingram got like $9 million. Like 1 year, $9 million deal. It's like, what? And I think Waller's only making what, 7 or 8. So, I mean, who knows? That's something that I'm sure they're going to have to deal with. But again, right tackle to me is most pressing issue right now. How many passing yards? Raider Wolf says, how many passing yards do you estimate Carr will have at the end of the season? Be around 5,000, right? We have 17 games now, so Chevy Silver Raider says 4,500 plus. Yeah, I would say 4,500 is probably the floor I would say 4,500 to low 5,000. Kerry Williams says, I liked Bradley, but he didn't change up on his defensive scheme. It was easy to read. He didn't adjust. The red zone defense sucked, and he didn't cover running backs out of the flat, and he didn't make the adjustments in the second half of the season, mainly with the front four not getting as much pressure to the quarterback. I showed that before at the end of the season. I went through some stats like first half, second half, and it was like night and day. And we didn't really do anything about that. We didn't blitz anymore. I thought we would have. That didn't happen. So yeah, I'm excited with Patrick Graham, and very cerebral guy. We talked about that, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see him work with this defense. Let's see. Space for It says, Jalen Ramsey said that about Gus. It's the same D week in and week out. Oh, now he's with the Colts. So that it's funny because the Colts, they have an eager type defense. That's another thing. We didn't create enough turnovers. We only had like 6 interceptions last year. Joke. But they had problems rushing the passer, even with Kwity Paye. So this whole unique thing, that made sense for them. I don't know if he got extended because he had 1 year left on the deal when we traded him. So if you guys know that, you can let me know. I'm not keeping up with the Colts, but I think that it's kind of a win-win. And plus, they got rid of that clown Carson Wentz. He's with Washington now. They gave up a first rounder for Carson Wentz. Space for It says, heard Leatherwood was working out like a madman. Supposedly he's in great shape. Yeah, I saw some social media pics about that. Will it translate to better play? Was he saying that he was dogging it last year like a Trent Brown? Is that what what we're assuming? There was a lot of, I think with Leatherwood, it was more cerebral. A lot of dumb plays, a lot of dumb holding plays, missed assignments. I think it's more between the ears, honestly, than the physical. That's my opinion. But again, I've mentioned this in social media that, Colton Miller struggled in his first season, so we could be optimistic with Leatherwood. Again, I'm interested to see, are they going to move him back to tackle or not? If not, we need a right tackle. We need one like yesterday. So how many pancakes for Leatherwood this season? Are you talking about the football kind or the eating kind? I don't know. That's bad. Let's see. Raider Wolf says, if we do make it to the Super Bowl, who would you like our opponent to be? I'd like it to be Tampa. It would be epic if we had a Pirate Bowl and beat Tom Brady. Well, we had a Pirate Bowl before. It didn't turn out too well for us, since they basically knew all the plays that were going to be run. So this situation would obviously be different. I don't really care who we would play out the NFC, to be honest with you. But if I was going to call somebody, it'd probably be the Rams. 1, defending champions. 2, they're in LA. So we beat them. We take over the title. Plus, we've won 2 in LA. They've only won 1 in LA, and we would be the dominant team. So I would probably say the Rams, but it doesn't really matter as long as we're hoisting the Lombardi Trophy at the end. Kerry Williams says Jacobs is great, but running backs are a dime a dozen. I feel he will be traded to fix. Absolutely. I don't think we're going to be extending him past the 5th-year extension. That's going to be the most we have with Jacobs. I would agree with you. Space for It says McDaniel seems to make offensive line late round picks into starters. Well, that's good and all. I don't want to have to depend on that, especially at the tackle position, especially in the division we're in, with the pass rushers we have to face. I would want a little bit more security there. Kerry says Waller's attitude seems to change. I don't like to make assumptions, but he didn't seem real motivated to come back and play after his injury. I hope he comes back like he did in 2020. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of smoke there. Who knows? Be interesting to see. Maybe it was just I thought maybe he just didn't like Gruden, but Gruden was gone, and the stuff was still happening. So who knows? Red Wolf says, not sure if you already answered this, but who would you like us to get at right tackle? I mentioned Bobby Massey. I think for the price, he would be decent. So that would probably be the guy, and he's still out there. Not to say he's a great right tackle, but we can't get top guys at every position. I would like to see Leatherwood back at right tackle to see if he can handle it. I mean, we spent first round capital on that. Maybe move Leatherwood back to right tackle and get Bobby Massey to back him up in case something happens, or if you want to move him back to guard or whatever. That would be my opinion. So, Kerry Williams says Leatherwood changed positions didn't help. Plus, he's a rookie and hopefully adjusts. Yes, absolutely. So, to me, the biggest issue we have right now, the biggest hole right now that we have that concerns me the most is right tackle. Defensive tackle is still a problem. We only have one guy, right? Nichols on the roster, so that's also an issue. But to me, it's more easily filled. Plus, we still have guys out there that we can re-sign that were on our team last season if we so desire. So, let's see. We're a little bit over an hour. I do appreciate you guys coming out. I do enjoy this. Love the chat. I am excited for this season. If you're excited for this season, put a 1 in the chat right now, because I know every year people get excited, new season, we're all undefeated, but you know what? This team looks different. This feels different. This regime feels different. Now, of course, they're going to have to do it on the field, but again, so far so good. So far so good at what we've done. We've been methodical. I don't think we've really overpaid for anybody. The big names that we did get, we were going to have to pay. That's the going rate. It wasn't like a Jacksonville situation. I think we were smart about it. We traded Unique Ngakoue and got a guy that we need, and still got an upgrade at that edge position with Jones. So overall, I think we've done well. We do have a few holes more to fill. Let's see. Space for Rent says you bring Good back, plug him in at right tackle or offensive guard. There was talk about him going to tackle last offseason. And if you look at the times where he was, if you look at like the stats where he did play tackle, only a few games, he didn't look very good. I would prefer him at guard and move Leatherwood at tackle and see what you got, and then back him up with a vet like Massey. If he does falter, put Massey in. And we need at least one more right guard, or one more right tackle rather, if not two, and even like a swing guy in case, heaven forbid, Colton Miller gets hurt. What do you do at left? So I do appreciate you guys. We are over 1 hour here. I see ones all over here. Parker was a turnstile. I actually, Space Friend, I actually did a video where I actually put a little turnstile, picture of a turnstile, and I put Brandon Parker on there if you want to look back. And I don't remember. I think it was after the Bears game, I believe, when I did the game review of the Bears, I believe, if you want to look back at that. So, yeah, I used to call him turnstile all the time. I totally agree. Thank you, guys. I only like to go about an hour. Things get stale. Yeah, I know you guys are busy. I do appreciate you guys coming out here. We're a little over an hour right now. And like Sandy B says, hit the thumbs up button if you did enjoy this. And if you're watching this on a replay, why not subscribe to the channel? Get your notifications so you can be here live with the rest of us. Again, thank you guys for coming out here. And as always, go Raiders.
Something with all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the years?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.